Drew Commesso has been tearing it up in the AHL, and some recent stats may surprise a lot of people. We also have a very high praise for Arvid Soderblom, who was compared to a franchise legend, so stick around to the end of the video to find out who that is. But before we get into this video, we noticed that 80% of you guys are not subscribed to the channel, so if you're looking for a spot to get all your news around the Chicago Blackhawks, you're in the right spot. Make sure to stay a while, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of the breaking news. But like I said, Drew Commesso has been absolutely tearing it up in the AHL. He's only played 5 games split between his backup, but certainly he will be becoming the starter soon. This comes out from CHGO Blackhawks. That prospect Drew Commesso is blossoming in the AHL, and in this article, they said Commesso started his first professional season with the Rockford IceHogs, and in the American Hockey League, career is off to a great start. He has a .222 goals against average and a .919 save percentage, and a shutout in his 5 starts. He was recently named the Young Netminder, their player of the month for October. Now, he's splitting time with Jackson Stober in the AHL, but his stats are quite bad. I believe it's like a .448 goals against something, 8-something save percentage.
Yeah.
So that's not ideal of what you're looking for. But having Drew Commesso as these stats in the AHL is pleasantly surprising. You know, the future for Chicago in the net might look pretty good with Arvid Soderblom and Drew Commesso. You might think, why are there 2 really good goalies being in the same NHL team? But we've seen that work a lot in recent history. You know, the main example that comes to mind for me would be Linus Ullmark and Jeremy Swayman. You know, both of these guys have been very good the past 2 seasons. But, you know, also happened with Corey Crawford and Robin Lehner back in 2019. Like, it was a very awkward thing to have to look at and see why they're doing this. But we know it worked out. One thing I also want to mention before I kick this over to you, Noah, is that Drew Commesso worked with Jeremy Swayman in the offseason. So that might show that where he's getting some of that development from, being how good he is in the AHL in his first professional bit of his career. But what do you think about this, Noah, about Drew Commesso? Obviously, it's a major thing that you like to see in the AHL. So what do you think about it?
Oh, really? Well, I think everyone in Chicago is kind of focused on the forwards and the defense. You know, Connor Bedard, obviously, Oliver Moore, Kevin Korchinski, all those guys up front that they're focused on developing, and nobody seems to be really talking about their goaltending. You know, what their plan is going to be in the goaltending. And I mean, by the sounds of it and by the looks of his stats, I mean, I think they have a future NHL caliber goalie in Drew Commesso. I mean, absolutely tearing it up in the AHL, like you said. I think he's got like a .920 save percentage. I think you had his stats there.
Yeah, .919 and 222 goals against.
Yeah, like that's really solid, you know, for I think he's 21, 22 years old.
Yeah, he's 21, 22, 20, something along the lines of that.
Yeah, so I mean, it's awesome to see. I mean, obviously, we're going to dive into Arvid Soderblom a little bit, and they also have Adam Guyan, who we're not really touching on in this video, but you know, he had a stellar season over there in I think he was in Green Bay in the USHL and tore it up in Slovakia. So there's a lot of promise in the goaltending department that nobody really seems to be talking about.
Oh, you're absolutely right. And like I've said this a lot of videos, that you can never have too much goaltending. You can have a lot. You can have too many forwards. You can have too many defense, but you can't have too much goaltending. That's something that, you know, you may run into a roadblock. You don't have enough of them and something like that. But having a lot in this case, the way that Chicago does, we know that Peter Mrazek he's a bit on the older side. He's not old yet. He's still playing very good.
He's not in their future.
Yeah, no. He's not in the future of the Chicago Blackhawks. He's not in their path going down the way they're looking to go down, you know, with all the young guys that are coming up, that are on their way coming up. So having these amount of goalies, you know, it's ideal for what the Blackhawks have in the foreseeable future. But like I said, and like you said, Noah, Arvid Soderblom, we're going to talk about him now. He is being compared to a franchise legend in Chicago. Now, this comes from Charlie on his Twitter, that he was doing a sit-down interview with Jimmy Waite, their goaltending coach, and he compares him to Corey Crawford. Now, I know, Noah, this is the prime of our, I guess you could say, careers watching hockey. Corey Crawford, we know how good he was. You know, he retired on the early side, but can you blame him? The career stats that he had, the success that he had in Chicago, you can't blame him. But being compared to Corey Crawford is absolutely such an incredible feat to be able to, you know, to hold that quote. And it's just a major thing. And here's a bit of the article here. Jimmy Waite, he's worked closely, the NHL goalie coach for Chicago, so he's worked with, you know, a lot of guys. Corey Crawford being the one he's compared to. Marc-Andre Fleury, we know, future Hall of Famer, future, you know, pretty much everything. Stanley Cup winner, all of it. Robin Lehner, Scott Brownlee, Kevin Lankinen, Antti Raanta, Alex Stalock, among some of the other names, but a very, very successful list of goalies. He was tasked with, you know, bringing in the new group of Arvid Soderblom, Drew Commesso eventually as well, and being compared to Corey Crawford, like I said, is incredible. His calmness, he said, I've seen it before, reminds me of Corey Crawford, how calm he is in the room, nothing phases him. Now, Arvid Soderblom hasn't had the most successful career yet. He's 3 wins in his 24 career starts, which I know you can't really hold that against him in the Chicago system that we've seen over the past 2 years. They're not there to win, but his stats do not show that he has a 3 wins in 24 games. It just doesn't. So, I expect this, once all the Chicago gets this figured out, that he will start to blossom, I guess you could say, the way that they're describing all of these goalies in the system. But, Noah, what do you think about this comparison? This is absolutely huge for the Blackhawks.
It's a lot of pressure, obviously Corey Crawford is 3-time Stanley Cup winner. I mean, he was, like I said, in the peak when we started watching hockey, was the peak of his career. I mean, just an absolute stellar goaltender. And I mean, it's a lot to put on Arvid Soderblom. I mean, absolutely he can be there. We've seen flashes of that in the games. And like you said, you wouldn't know, but he only has 3 wins in 24 games. But I mean, if I'm a goaltender and I'm seeing this, from my goaltending coach, this is lighting a fire under my ass, plain and simple. It's just making me, okay, he sees potential in me. He sees that I can be where I want to be. I'm going to play my heart out, and I'm going to play to be the best player I can be. So I think it's an absolutely crazy comparison. Don't get me wrong. I mean, the potential or the comparison, but I love it.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. The potential is there. And like you said, it is a lot of pressure on Arvid Soderblom. But one thing that he mentioned, the main thing, is that he's unfazed by a lot of the things, which I think is a huge reason why he's capable of doing this. Many people, if they're compared to someone like Corey Crawford or any of the guys that he's worked with, that'll get your nerves going a bit. Obviously, I'm sure Arvid Soderblom realized that this is definitely a heavy task to be compared to, but the way that he's unfazed by a lot of stuff, and what we've seen in games, he's very calm. A lot of pressure around the net. He's super calm. He sees the puck well. He moves his body well, but still a lot to work on. But that's a very, very good sign to be in the way he is right now, heading to a direction that the Blackhawks are looking very, very much forward to. But that is a comparison that we're going to be seeing throughout the year as well. Obviously, the season is not even halfway over yet, so a lot on Arvid Soderblom this year, and I expect to see some very, very good games and a lot more wins this season, hopefully. He's a very good goalie, and I like to see goalies do well, being one myself. But before we end this video off here, we have one more little update for you guys, which is just kind of some injuries in the Blackhawks roster that we've been seeing over the past few days and weeks. So we're going to start it off pretty much here with Nikita Zaitsev. I mentioned in yesterday's video, he is out for personal reasons, and he's gone until at the earliest next week. So that's pretty much all we're going to know about that. Obviously, nothing like the personal issues get revealed, so we just know he'll be out for at least a week. Hopefully everything is fine. Hopefully he'll return as soon as possible. But main priority is him, his family, whatnot is the important part. But we also have Jared Tinordi and Andreas Athanasiou are both week to week and are not close to resuming skating. We've seen both these guys did have injuries for the past few days, but we did not know the extent. Kind of assumed that Tinordi would be out a while and Athanasiou, but we finally have our confirmations here. The Blackhawks have done a very good job in being able to fill these roles for the Blackhawks, that they're missing.
Yes, yeah.
Obviously, Jared Tinordi is a solid NHL defenseman, and Athanasiou is a top 6 forward on this team. So, Noah, what do you think about the way they've filled in, I guess, these roles for the time being? Obviously, it's not close, but, it's pretty important to get these roles filled as soon as possible.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, they had to, and I love bringing up the young guys. I think they called up a young defenseman there from Rockford earlier today, Roos, which, let the young guys come up, let them play. They'll take advantage of the time that they're given. But I mean, I just want to go on to the injury sort of deal. It sucks when you have guys, like you said, a top 6 forward in Athanasiou, and I think Tinordi's been pretty consistent in their top 4 throughout this year. I mean, that just sucks for your culture. Obviously, as you're trying to get together as a team, and you're trying to, progress as a team, and when you got guys that are coming in and out of the lineup, it does suck. It does, mess up your whole culture and your whole momentum, I guess is the best way of putting it. Obviously, Athanasiou and Tinordi, they're not big, huge, massive names, but obviously, they're a part of the team. And when you see guys down, and when you see guys not able to play, it sucks. It sucks.
Yeah, and you're right. It's part of hockey, though. It's something you got to work with, something you got to get used to. Obviously, some of the bigger names on this team and the veteran side of things. You don't like to lose those. You don't want a team to be too young, but the Blackhawks are in good enough shape where they have an even distribution of rookies and veterans. So I think they will be in good shape. Hopefully these guys return as soon as possible. Obviously, not skating anytime soon, but rest up, get good by the end of the year, and then things will be rolling. But that's all we got for this video. Tonight they're playing Tampa. Another last time, they played them. Connor Bedard, 4 points, 5-3 wins. So hopefully we can see something again like that tonight. Another big challenge. I believe Peter Mrazek is starting, so we won't get to see Arvid Soderblom's Corey Crawford-esque style tonight. But that's all we got for this video. If you did enjoy, make sure to like the video. Make sure to subscribe, like I said at the beginning of the video, if you don't want to miss out on any Chicago Blackhawks news. But that's all we got. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and see you later.